Hello everyone, this video is a recap of the changes from the U39 PTS we got yesterday, after I could quick test some of them, so let's dive in. Damage to monsters effect will now affect proc damage, so now Reliquien, Zan, Pilar, Nirn, but also burning status or poison status are getting affected by like Passe, Oakensoul, Major and Minor Slayer, so that's a very nice change. DK is getting a minor nerf on their burning damage. Damage loss, but doesn't matter too much, DK is still clearly S tier. Necromancer Colossus is getting a cost reduction on the vuln duration is extended. That's a pretty insane change, but sadly it's just gonna make Necro DPS weaker, because as now you can take care of the match of vuln uptime by yourself as support Necro or tank Necro, with just Nazarian and Pillager. You have even less reason to bring a Necro to your red, damage being terrible. We can only hope for Zos to revert some of the nerf to Blastbone, Siphon, Archer, the Execute passive, the Dot passive, Boneyard, Boneyard Synergy, Orb, etc. The list is pretty long. It's pretty insane how bad Necro Kit is currently. I found it kinda insane that, you know, they are not even reverting the Execute passive to what it was while Templar Beam exists. An Eyeblade Merciless Resolve, so the bow proc, gets a pretty huge damage buff. The ability is now fully passive and doesn't need to be activated anymore. It's a nice quality of life and a little damage increase for Eyeblade. Sorcerer Bones Armament gets a similar change, except that the skill got nerfed to the ground during U35, and even with this change, it's still just bad. It's literal damage loss to press the skill on a normal Sorc setup, because it does less damage than a spammable, and I'm not even talking, you know, that you would need to remove a pet to slot it. Lot of weapons are getting their passive changed. Bow range passive, who used to be until 12% damage done with your bow abilities, is now 5% to everything, and 6% if you stand a bit far from your target. So it makes bow way stronger, and Templar is very happy to get a 5% damage boost on beam. Fire Staff is nerfed to the ground, it now increases status effects initial hit by 500. This is straight up terrible. The weapon was weak already, but now it's losable. I tried it on dummy and it's so weak that I couldn't even notice a difference when I was removing the passive and putting it back. Landing Staff is kinda buffed. It's now 12% damage increase on your channel or damage over time, so it's a mini Deadly Strike pretty much. It's strong on paper on Templar and Arcanists, as it boosts Jab, Jesus Beam and Dragon Ball Beam, but it's still weaker than Daggers from what I tested. The Penetrating Magic passive is now also 3k pen, but it only applies to staff abilities for some reason, so it's still useless. Trifocus gets some change. Now, the fire heavy attack puts a 20-second dot. It's kind of funny as you can now pre-charge a fire heavy attack before pulling the boss, but that's about it. The fire shock staff heavy now cleaves only on the final tick, so it's kinda massive nerf to Oakensoul builds. A 2H passive gets a nerf, kinda nothing to say here, it's just a bit weaker. Dual wield passives gets a nerf, daggers lose 1% crit. Not the end of the world, it's still the best front bar weapon. Unless Maelstrom 2H is getting a massive buff. Now, when you stomp it, you buff all your 2H abilities like Wrecking Blow, Carve, Executioner, etc. It's very strong, you can see it background. A Eyeblade Parse I made with stacking 2H abilities, and I got almost 133k. Azureblight is getting a buff. Now each explosion has 0.5% internal cooldown, but in counterpart you can start already build up the stacks of the next one and the explosion is stronger than before. So it's supposed to be better now, but it's bugged on PTS right now and it can't crit anymore, even though the set literally gives you a crit line. So on current PTS it's terrible, like it's not just bad, it's like actually insanely terrible and useless. As comparison, to understand better, I placed 10 dummies in one place to create the best scenario possible for Azureblight, and it still got outdamaged by Gal drops, which is the weakest dot in the game. So I don't know if that's intended or not, but let's hope they will change that. Pillager Profit is getting fixed, so it took 4 months, but at least now we can raid again, that's pretty nice. So that's it for today. Let me know in the comments what you think of the patch and if you have any ideas of things to test. Hope you have a nice day and see ya.